All right, this is Deadweight on behalf of electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about deadweight loss. Now, when it comes to deadweight loss, it has to do with supply and demand. Okay, we all know that as per the law of supply, as the cost of production goes down, okay, the quantity of production goes up, hence the price goes up. This is your supply. And as per the law of demand, as the price goes down, okay, the demand goes up, and vice versa. All right, we also know that this is your equilibrium point right over here. This is EQ. And we know that if the government was to go ahead and set a price ceiling, the price ceiling may be below the equilibrium point. Okay, which basically means suppliers cannot raise their prices up to the equilibrium point or the point at which the consumers are willing to buy a certain quantity. All right. So in that case, what's going to end up happening is because we're looking at our supply curve over here, okay, there will be a loss of surplus. Okay, the original surplus, okay, will be reduced to this amount over here. So that's just about the supply curve, just below the price ceiling. All right, so this will be your new surplus. Okay, supplier surplus. All right, compared to this area over here. Okay, so this is what the supplier lost, as a result of which the new surplus is this area over here. All right, now apart from that, okay, if we were to set a price floor, okay, going back to our supply and demand or law of supply and demand, we know that this is supply and this is demand. All right, and this is your equilibrium price, this is your equilibrium quantity. All right. And in this case, what's going to end up happening is if the consumers, okay, were to profit from this, okay, we're talking about a surplus just underneath your demand curve, okay, just about the equilibrium point. Okay, so this would be your consumer surplus. All right, however, if you were to set a price floor, which basically means that the suppliers would need to raise their prices, and let's assume the price floor is about the equilibrium point. Okay, in this case, the consumer surplus will be reduced. Okay, and the new consumer surplus will be this area over here. Okay, just about the price floor and below the demand curve. Because we know this is the demand curve over here. Just below the demand curve, you have your consumer surplus, which has been reduced. The original surplus was the entire area over here below the demand curve and above the equilibrium line for price. Okay, however, has been reduced to just about the price floor and below the demand curves, just this area over here. Okay, as a result of which it leads to inefficiency in production. Okay, because there is a loss of surplus, a loss of total surplus or economic surplus, leading to inefficient production because obviously your equilibrium point has been changed. Okay, the surplus has been reduced as a result of which either the producer is producing less or is producing too much. All right, so in that case, this leads to inefficient production and also leads to something called deadweight loss. Okay, and which has to do with inefficiency. All right, so apart from that, that's it for this video. This is Obeid on behalf of V Electronics. Have yourself a great day.